189 registered members. That the SACCO is currently facing liquidity problem due to financial malpractices in its operation since by the year 2017, which need to be uncovered and bring to book the people who may be found culpable in a court of law. And 10, that this petition is not before any court of law. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the Senate of Kenya intervenes to ensure that 1, an independent auditor is put in place to conduct a forensic audit to inquire into operations of the SACCO from the year 2017 to 30th of September, year 2003. 2, bring to book the people who may be found culpable of any financial malpractice and be charged in a court of law, such charged and recovery measures instituted thereof, pursuant to the provisions of Section 73 and 74 of the Cooperative Societies Act of the year 2005, revised in the year 2012. And 3, that the Senate grant or offer a soft loan of 50 million to the SACCO to enable it resume lending services to its members. And the petitioners will forever pray. This is dated today, 12th of August, year 2024, and signed by the Speaker of the County Assembly. Honorable members, this assembly is in receipt of a petition from members and beneficiaries of Kilimo SACCO, which was considered by my office. Members of the assembly affected by the said SACCO. Further, it was considered by the Assembly Business Committee, and therefore aware that the cooperatives and the Cabinet Secretary responsible for cooperative is answerable to the national government, in this case the Senate, whose responsibility is to inquire to and investigate and protect matters related to counties that are domiciled at the national government. And therefore, on behalf of the County Assembly of Makueni, I have considered this petition, and then we defer it to the Senate of Kenya to act on it and take the necessary action. The office of the clerk is duly instructed to take immediate, quick action to convey the same message. Further to this, that this petition be copied to His Excellency, the Governor of Makueni, County Executive Committee member responsible for cooperatives, the interim office of the Kilimo SACCO, if there is any, the Senator for Makueni, and the Senator for Makueni, and the Commissioner for Cooperatives, including the Cabinet Secretary and the Principal Secretary responsible. Honorable members, I allow contributions, if any, on that petition. On the same matter, on the petition, wait, hold on. Any member who wish to contribute on that petition? Deputy Leader of Majority Party.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I'm very happy that this matter has come to our attention. I am one of the members who actually is highly affected because my members are affected. Kilimo SACCO has 2 branches, where one is situated at Kalamba and the other one is situated at Ilima Ward, Chambeke. As we are talking, the one in Kalamba is already closed. It's only one branch which is operating at Ilima. And it has taken us a very long route to resuscitate it. As we are talking now, they are actually busy running that particular branch. However, the one in Kalamba, which was the headquarters, is dead. And this is a matter which needs to be addressed as quickly as possible. The culprits who have taken money from this SACCO, they are still running freely, and they're still operating their businesses in this Makueni County. And now that it has come to the government of Makueni County, and especially to the president of the Makueni County, I believe this matter, wherever he is, and if he's watching, he needs to take it so seriously so that at the end of the day, people may get their free democratic rights taken care of. Some of the members who have been saving this institution are very old women, people who are actually earning from the hands to the mouth, people who are selling even their own goods to sustain themselves and to sustain their income. And then somebody else finds it worthy to steal from such kind of people, and you are freely walking, buying assets here and there. My key issue would be these members need to be audited in their lifestyle. They need to be looked in critically. Any assets which they are owning be put in dissolution so that at least can be sold out and the money of these people is recovered to help them to come back to their life. I'm sorry to report that quite a number of them have died because of stress and depression. Some had spent all whatever the fortune they needed to have, and it's not a simple matter. So my heart to this house is we need to support these petitioners so that they can get justice which has been denied. Because justice is denied, and justice is delayed, it's justice denied. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member for Zawi Kalamba Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this petition. And actually, Mr. Speaker, just but to correct the member who has just left the floor, we don't have two branches. Kalamba Kilimo Sacco has more than 16,000 members, to the best of my knowledge, because I'm member number 848. So, Speaker, it stretches all the way to Kikumbulu South. They are also domiciled at Kathonzweni, Waterward, Elima, Mbitine, Mali, and so on and so forth. Mr. Speaker, I know there's a branch at Elima. It's called Chambeke. Mr. Speaker, you know, you have said we have only 2 branches and Kalamba has died. Kilili is also operating, Kalamba is also operating, they are operating. Just to give you some information that maybe you didn't have. So, Speaker, it is sad that most of the members of this circle are old women and old men. We have even retirees who had deposited their money there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, during the year 2020, 2021, during the COVID time, is when the board and some other staff decided to misappropriate that money without the knowledge of the members, because members were not supposed to meet, and actually they were not supposed to be in meetings. So the chair of the board and the members decided to misappropriate the funds. Mr. Speaker, rumor has it that Kalamba had around 245 million Kenya shillings share capital. Mr. Speaker, today as we speak, there are some pastors, funeral organizations, and other parties which have really been affected because they had put their hope there, they had deposited the money there, their money there, and there's nothing that you can get from them, Mr. Speaker, even today. I can even tell you today, the members of public, that is the members of Kilimo Sacco, they have even called the governor. He's going to meet them on 15th at Matiliko DC's office, so that actually they can deliberate and see whether they can get a way out, because most of them are dying in their numbers, Mr. Speaker, because they cannot even know how to move without their money. Some of them had put their pension there. I don't know even how to say it. One of the members, Mr. Ndonye from Kilili, deposited his pension there, 600,000, Mr. Speaker. He comes daily to my home. He thinks that I can help him, while Mr. Speaker, actually to see the lizards that I cannot help him, Mr. Speaker. So I'm really impressed by the way, Mr. Speaker, you have taken the issue, and I'm almost cocksure that it will be handled to its conclusion, Mr. Speaker. And that one will give our people leverage to live a better life. Because, Mr. Speaker, you cannot tell me a Mama Boga who has deposited maybe 100 shillings, 200 shillings. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, without any fear again, that those Mama Bogas who had deposited some money there, they even go to the bank today. They go there, they are told there's nothing. They ask me what happened. We thought our money is still there. Can you tell them to give us our money? And the money is not there, Mr. Speaker. So let the Senate deal with that matter conclusively to help our people regain confidence in the circles. There is this circle that we are forming, Mr. Speaker. The circles that we are forming. through NFCD. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you, nobody will be interested in those things because they'll think it is going to go the same way that the Kilimo Sacco went. So, Mr. Speaker, try to help us through the Senate and we'll be very, very happy as a team and as Makueni. Thank you.
Honorable Jonathan Mwaniki, SG.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support the petition. But, Mr. Speaker, I've got some few issues because as a county, we have a Department of Agriculture. And, Mr. Speaker, we have the Assembly, County Assembly of Makueni. Mr. Speaker, I'm not connecting how a petition can be relayed to the Senate through the Assembly. That I don't understand the reason why, but the law says that members of public can petition any office. They can petition the office of the governor, they can petition the office of the parliament, they can petition the Senate, but the movement of business, the Speaker, I cannot understand. Today, I was listening to, I was in one of the spaces, Mr. Speaker, and Okia Omotata was arguing about petitions, impeachment of governors, Mr. Speaker, by the Senate. And he clearly said that those matters become very complicated because he is the senator for one of the counties in Western Kenya, but he is not conversant with the politics of Meru, Mr. Speaker. So, based on that, we might find ourselves, unless the Senate comes to operate in our assembly, it will be a bit complicated because this Kilimo Sacco is based in Makueni County. It is not in Kajiado, it is not in Machakos. Where it operates is within Makueni County, where we have a county government with a county assembly, with a Department of Agriculture and cooperative movement, Mr. Speaker. So I need clarification on those issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, Honorable Moki has indicated that a member of public, any member or members of public can petition is assembly, parliament, or senate. And then his question is, how can a county assembly petition another assembly? It is that this county assembly, one, is a house of representatives of the people. So the assembly is not distinct from the citizens. It is the people seated here, people of Makueni. Two, when you are dealing with a matter in which case the officer or officers responsible are answerable to national government, particularly matters related to cooperatives. The cooperative commissioner is not answerable or accountable to a county assembly, but to a principal secretary, to a cabinet secretary, and a county assembly cannot request information or compel a cabinet secretary to produce information or compel a cabinet secretary to execute an inquiry. It is on that basis that the county assembly is referring the matter to Senate, so that through the Senate, this petition will be caused to reach the cabinet secretary, to the principal secretary, and the commissioner of cooperatives, who is responsible for auditing and inquiring into SACCOs when they are in such a state. If indeed from 2017 or whatever time, up to now, that the county executive has not been able to do so, and there exists a County Cooperatives Act and the National Cooperatives Act, then the mandate of what we are inquiring to is vested at the national government. We may not have such, unless then has directly petitioned the cooperative commissioner directly from the County Assembly of Makueni to execute that audit. But it is less weighty because, again, how she chooses or he chooses to deal with that matter is up to her. But when it is from a sister assembly where the cooperative commissioner is answerable, then it will be executed and reported. So it is on that basis. Otherwise, if we do it at our level, it will still require intervention of the cooperatives at the national level. But again, the officers at the national level are not answerable to the county. The existence of the Senate is to handle such matters. We have a senator elected. There is a Senate as committee on this matter, and therefore we have asked them to do what they are supposed to do, not us doing what they are supposed to do. So as we deal with the basics, Honorable Musu has indicated that there are other cooperatives being formed within the county. I think that is our mandate in the interim. Further to that, standing order number 44 is messages to and from the Senate. Message from the County Assembly to the Senate shall be in writing and shall be signed by the Speaker. The Clerk of the County Assembly shall submit the message from the County Assembly to the Clerk of the Senate and shall receive the messages from the Senate. The Clerk shall deliver to the Speaker the message received from the Senate and vice versa. So if a message is received from the Senate, that is if a message is received from the Senate in the time the County Assembly is not sitting, the Speaker may. Now, what happens to the messages? Any communication that, or a motion or a resolution from a County Assembly to the Senate is received under the order paper, will always find there is messages, which is number 3. And therefore, this message will be received by the Clerk of the Senate, but be read by the Speaker of the Senate as a message from the County Assembly of Makueni, and refer this petition to the respective committee, and the respective committee will cause the commissioner to inquire into matters related to Kilimo Sacco within a specified time, which is enforceable. In our case, we may not enforce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that information. Well received, Mr. Speaker. But still, I have a further question. Now that I have become a shareholder, a partaker in this petition, because you have read the petition to me, how will I participate in the Senate? Because now I am a partner with the Senate as a legislator in Makueni County Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
2 ways of dealing with this matter. We should have referred this matter to the County Assembly Committee responsible for cooperatives. Does the committee have the powers and the ability and the technical experts with the constitutional responsibility to audit? If then what member for Ilima and for Nzaui is referring to, this is not day-to-day operations. They're referring to members' deposits that have been swindled. So you require a forensic audit. The minimum the County Assembly Committee on Cooperatives will do is to recommend to the Auditor General to conduct an audit and present a report. But the Auditor General will still ask the Commissioner for Cooperative first to audit. And then it will be a vicious circle. So ultimately, even if you are to deal with the matter in form of a motion, a report, you will still end up at first auditing the books, inquiring into, investigating, examining the books, accounts, statements, and everything. Under the law, who is responsible to examine books of accounts of a cooperative? It is the cooperative's commissioner, answerable to a principal secretary for cooperative, answerable to your former Azimio leader, Oparanya. And Oparanya is answerable to the Senate. And the senator from Makueni is representing you in the Senate, so you will participate. You will be participating in Senate through Senator Manso. I hope you are satisfied. Yes. So I can give you his number in case there are further details you would wish to share with him. Honorable members, I think your question is in good faith. It's proper that we understand what was the basis of referring the matter to Senate. Next order. What is your point of order, member for Cascade Ward?
It is in order for a member of ward for Tange to be dressed the way he is dressed right now.
Member for Thange.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, is good as once we stand on standing orders, we quote which is standing order, and what does it mean? So I would request the member for Cascale to quote the standing order and how we should dress in the assembly, because I think, Honorable Speaker, I'm properly dressed. Thank you.
Member for Cascale, what do you think is not in order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, once more. I don't think whether, although I can't quote the standing orders, but I think, Mr. Speaker, to the best of my knowledge, since you joined this count, every member knows the right attires to wear in this house. I think it is a full suit, either a coat or a trouser, but not a counter suit. And if I may be wrong, I stand to be guided by the Speaker. Thank you.
Member for Thange.
Honorable Speaker, I think now the member somehow is getting to learn the dress code of this assembly, because I thought once he stood, he was going to quote a certain standing order whereby it stipulates how a member should be dressed, but he has said he needs to be guided. So, Honorable Speaker, we will continue guiding him time by time. So once once the session is over, I will take him in step by step on how members should dress and when they should stand on points of order.
Okay, fine. I hear you. He may not have known, but can you take members through that standing order? Check them.
Honorable Speaker, I said I've gone through the standing order as Honorable Speaker, but I have not come to a standing order whereby I am supposed to be in a suit, in a tie, and whereby a counter suit, which because most of the things, Honorable Speaker, we copy from other assemblies. For example, the National Assembly, the Senate, whereby senators dress in counter suits. National Assembly, the members of Parliament, they also do counter suits. Is only here whereby I've had my colleague from Cascale questioning my today's dressing code, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am an African, and in Africa, one of the best dressing code for men, it is counter suit, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members have listened to the point of order by member for Cascale and the response by member for Thange. And in the Speaker's rule of the Counter Assembly of Makueni, not of the Senate, and not of any other Counter Assembly. Because there's only one Counter Assembly number 17 all over the world. And it's not a sister to another, or a brother, or neither a cousin. Properly dressed means dressed in coats, collar, tie, long trouser, socks, shoes, service uniform, if any, decent national dress for men, and equivalent standard for women. So, what are you putting on?
I am in a decent. The last sentence but one. I am in a decent national men dress.
So counter suit, is it
decent?
A Kenyan national dress?
Honorable Speaker, you have said a decent. National. Honorable
National
Speaker,
meaning Kenya, national.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, one of the symbols of national unity is the presidency. And Honorable Speaker, currently our president Honorable Speaker, protect me. The President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, currently, who is a symbol of unity, Honorable Speaker, and he speaks most of the time on behalf of Kenyans. Nowadays, he's doing countersuits. So, Honorable Speaker, no, it is a decent national. So, in that case, Honorable Speaker, I am decently dressed.
Member for Zawi Kalamba.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really wondering because the member for Bunge is a member of the Speaker's panel. And when you are not properly dressed, actually, Mr. Speaker, is the first person to tell you to go out. So he should not take us into circus, what you call circumlocution for that matter. So actually, he should own up and go and dress properly, Mr. Speaker.
So, honorable members, in the interest of time, we may not spend so much time on this matter. This is the first time we are witnessing a member of the County Assembly on a counter suit, not Kenya suit. A counter suit, I think, is a national dress for Zambia, not Kenya. If you are referring to national dress, I think there's a cases in Senate where they've allowed Maasai dress, which then has been accommodated to be a regalia, a national, to the extent that Senate has accommodated it. But I've told you that we don't copy. There is only one County Assembly, number 17. And I'm afraid you are not dressed decently in line with our traditions and practices. The person you are referring to, when he is in church, is in countersuit. When he's addressing rallies, is in countersuit. But when he's addressing a press conference in State House, he's on suit. He's one of the longest serving member of parliament and has never been on a countersuit at any given time. It's like telling me the president puts on a UDA cap. Therefore, you decided to come here with your Muungano cap in the chamber. It depends on where that cap is applied. It's outside, not here. So, to the extent that we may domesticate and define what is decent in the interim, I think we have not classified countersuits as such. And therefore, I'm persuaded you are not properly dressed for this sitting. Then I request that you withdraw from the chamber, failure to which we will ask Sergeant at Arms to assist you, to escort you very honorably. If you wish to scale down the dressing, you can only apply through the Procedure and Rules Committee. But in the interim, I'm afraid. Proceed. Sergeant. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Chairperson Committee on Finance, followed by Chairperson Committee on, yes, Finance, you have 3 papers to lay, followed by Powers and Privileges. Powers and Privileges.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once more, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly. The half-yearly progress report of the Powers and Privileges Committee for the period January to June 2024.
Chair Finance.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of Assembly. The report of Committee of Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Bursary and Fund quarterly report on financial statement and for the paper and for the period ended 31st March 2024. The report of the Committee of Finance, Socioeconomic on the Makueni County Climate Change Fund quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended 31st March 2023, and the report of the Committee of Finance and Socioeconomic Planning, the Makueni County Receiver Revenue quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended 31st.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson of Committee on Finance to give a notice of motion, followed by the Chairperson Powers and Privileges. Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move to give a notice of the following motion that this Assembly adopt the report of Committee on Finance and Socioeconomic Planning on the Makueni County Bursary Fund quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended 31st March 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th August 2024. That this Assembly adopt the report of Committee on Finance and Socioeconomic Planning on the Makueni County Climate Change Fund quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended 31st March 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th August 2024. And third, that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Finance and Socioeconomic Planning on the Makueni County Receiver of Revenue quarterly reports and financial statement for the period ended 31st March 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 12th August 2024. Thank you, Speaker.
Chairperson Powers and Privileges.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give the notice of the following motion. That this Assembly adopts a half-yearly progress report of the Powers and Privileges Committee for the period of January to June 2024, laid on the table of this Assembly on 12th August 2024.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Member for Kikumbuli Southport to request a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration, Special Program. From the Chairperson Committee on Finance. Requester is not in. Deferred Chairperson Committee on Gender, Children and Sports. Respond to statement number 19 as requested by member for Kolonzweni Ward. The statement is deferred. The member is absent to tomorrow. If the member, the request of the statement will be away, I will then direct that the response is laid. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the financial year 2023-2024, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on the 20th and 21st May of 2024.
Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion, which is that this Assembly endorse a report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the financial year 23-24, third quarter implementation report and the oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th July 2024. So, Speaker, with me is a very voluminous document. But, Mr. Speaker, I'll just go straight to the nitty-gritties and tackle the observations and recommendations. So, Speaker, during the 38th sitting of the County Assembly held on Monday, 6th May 2024, the leader of the majority party tabled a report from the head of the County Treasury on the financial year 23-24, third quarter budget implementation report. Sectoral committees were directed to consider and report to the Committee on Budget and Appropriations the third quarter budget implementation report within 21 days. The County Assembly, through the Budget and Appropriations Committee, conducted an oversight exercise on the financial year 23-24, third quarter budget implementation report across the county on 20th and 21st May 2024. So, Speaker, sir, the main objective of the exercise was to reach out to the specific projects, meet the project management committees and residents, and gather information regarding the status of the implementation, operation, management of the projects. Mr. Speaker, the oversight exercise tried to establish the following, among other issues concerning the projects. One is that the project name and the budgeted allocation as per the financial year 23-24, supplemented budget estimates, that is one. And then secondly, the scope of works. Thirdly, works already done and the estimated completion percentage. Then 4 is if complete, to scope, to state whether it is fully operational and the effort with the community. And then 5, challenges faced either in project implementation or operationalization. So, Speaker, 6 is that proposed recommendations to address the specific challenges stated in Article Sabbatical 5, and then other general recommendations regarding projects implementation, if any. Mr. Speaker, the Sectoral Committee considered both the report from the County Treasury and the oversight reports and came up with reports which were forwarded to the Budget and Appropriations Committee for compilation. So, Speaker, the committee considered the Sectoral Committee reports and made several observations and recommendations thereof. Observations. The Speaker, during the consideration of the Makueni County Financial Year 23-24, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024, the committee made the following key observations. 1. The financial year 23-24, third quarter budget implementation report didn't indicate status implementation of legislation guiding operations under each department. And then secondly is that Regulation 45 Sabbatical 6 of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015 provides that the County Treasury shall publish and publicize the quarterly liquidity position reports reflecting the impact of revenue collection efforts, spending, and county public debt operations on the cash position of the county government. So, Speaker, we have the following recommendations. Having carefully scrutinized the Makueni County Financial Year 23-24, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024, the committee came up with the following recommendations. The departments should include reporting of status implementation of the relevant legislation that guide operations in the quarterly budget implementation. And then secondly, the County Treasury should submit to the County Assembly quarterly liquidity position reports together with the quarterly budget implementation reports. So, Speaker, may I take this opportunity to thank all the members of the committee for their valuable contribution during the discussions, which were very extensive, because we have a very voluminous document, Mr. Speaker, detailing most of the projects that we visited and which were analyzed, Mr. Speaker. And then further to that, the committee thanks the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk for the County Assembly with that facilitation accorded during consideration of this report. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Select Committee on Budget and Appropriations pursuant to the provisions of Section 166, Sabbatical 4A of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, it is my pleasure and duty to present to the Assembly the committee's report for the adoption to approve the Makueni County Financial Year 23-24 third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th and 21st May 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I've said, the document is very voluminous. We've sent to members fonts so they can still interrogate it and get to the bottom of what they may want to see or interrogate within their words. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I call upon, I call upon Juice to second the motion, sorry.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the financial year 2023-2024, third quarter budget implementation report and oversight conducted on 20th to 21st of May 2024, laid on the table of Assembly on 30th of July 2024. The floor is open. Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I implore the members to support the motion.
Honorable members, I put the question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the financial year 2023-2024, third quarter budget implementation report on the oversight conducted on 20th and 21st of May 2024, laid on the table of Assembly on 30th of June 2024. As many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. Guys, have it, honorable members, that this report and its recommendations is approved by the County Assembly to be communicated to the County Executive Committee member for finance or Executive Committee members, His Excellency the Governor and the County Secretary. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. The report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Chairperson. Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture. Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion, which is that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly, laid on the table of the Assembly on 3rd July 2024. So, Speaker, you will allow me to go straight to the executive summary, Mr. Speaker. And then, Mr. Speaker, Article 185 Standing Order number 204, Sub-Article 1 of the County Assembly Standing Orders provides that within 60 days of a resolution of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant County Executive Committee member whose portfolio the implementation of the resolutions falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with the Section 39, Sub-Article 2 of the County Assembly County Governments Act 2012. So, Speaker, the Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development consider the response and noted that a total of 16 reports were considered by the committee, 3 of which were committees have yearly progress reports, and 2 of which were on consideration of vetting of chief officers. 2 reports was on a statement, and 1 report was on a public petition. And then 1 report was on a consideration of a bill, and 1 was a joint committee consideration, and 1 was on consideration of transfer of pending functions from national government. And then 1 was on a 1 report was on a 5 reports, on status of implementation of projects and oversight activities carried out by the committee during the period under review. So Speaker, the Makueni, we have the following findings. The Makueni County Agricultural Training Center Bill 2024 was submitted and has undergone first reading on 18th June 2024 and committed to the relevant committee pursuant to standing orders 145 on committee of bills to committees and public participation. Mr. Speaker, the second finding was that there was failure to adhere to the timelines given for implementation of county assembly resolutions as stipulated for in the Makueni County Assembly Standing Order number 204, sabbatical 1, which provides that within 60 days of resolution of the county assembly or adoption of a report of the select committee, the relevant county executive committee member whose portfolio the implementation of the resolution falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the county assembly in accordance with section 39, sabbatical 2 of the County Governments Act 2012. So Speaker, we have the reports in form of tables, which we have, which are covering a sensible number of the report, Mr. Speaker. And then after the reports from different areas which are under that table, Mr. Speaker, we also came up with the recommendations as a committee. So Speaker, is that the ECM responsible for Department of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Corporate Development should adhere to the timelines given for reporting on the implementation of county assembly resolutions as stipulated by the Makueni County Assembly Standing Order number 204, sabbatical 1. And then secondly, the County Assembly Committee on Implementation takes up the resolutions for scrutiny pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 213 of the County Assembly Standing Orders. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the committee, I wish to extend special gratitude to the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk, the County Assembly for the technical support offered, and thank all the members who diligently discharged their mandates as required by the law. On behalf of the committee, I hereby present the report on the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries, and Corporate Development on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly to the County Assembly for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And that we call upon I call upon Honorable Mase Motuko to second the motion. Mr. Speaker, I'm really getting it rough. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose a question that's assembled of the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries, Cooperative Development on the implementation of the status of the Assembly resolution of the Third Assembly on the table of the Assembly 3rd of July year 2024. The floor is open. Mover of the motion.
Speaker, I request the members to pass a motion and give it a favorable consideration thereof.
Honorable members, I put the question that the Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the implementation of the status of the Assembly resolutions. The Third Assembly on the table, the 3rd of July 2023. Last members of the opinion say aye. Aye. Last members of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members of the Committee on Implementation to take note on the recommendations of the Committee on Agriculture and execute forthwith without fail. So implementation, you are given within the next 30 days to file a report. Next order. Chairperson of the Committee on Implementation. Vice Chair. Vice Chair, Implementation. Member, Committee on Implementation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We will take the matter and we will do as you have said within the 30 days. We do it. Thank you, Speaker.
Chairperson, on behalf of Chair, take this matter seriously. We will not do reports and then they are not implemented at your end. Please take note of that and act accordingly. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. The report of the Committee on Finance and Social Economic Planning on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Honorable Benedict Moreno, Chairperson. Vice Chair. Very well covered. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly laid on the table of Assembly on 1st July 2024. Mr. Speaker, Article 183 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides the County Executive Committee shall implement county legislation within the county national legislation to the extent that the legislation so required, manage and coordinate the functions of the county administration and its department, and perform any other functions conferred on it by this constitution on national legislation. Further, the County Executive Committee may prepare proposal legislation for consideration by the County Assembly, and the County Executive Committee shall provide County Assembly with the full and regular reports on matters relating to the county. Honorable Speaker, the Section 39 of the County Government Act 2012, revised 2020, provides that the member of the County Executive Committee and individually and collectively are accountable to the governor in the exercise of the powers and perform of their duties and responsibilities, and a committee of the County Assembly may require a member of the County Executive Committee to attend or appear before the committee and answer any question related to the members' responsibilities. Honorable Speaker, the Standing Order 204 of the County Assembly of Makueni provides that 1. Within 60 days of the resolution of the County Assembly on adoption of the report of the Select Committee, including the petitions and undertakings, the relevant County Executive Committee member under all profile, the implementation of the resolution force shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Section 39(2) of the County Government Act. And 2, the relevant selection committee shall ensure that the resolution in one above are implemented within the 6 days and shall thereafter refer the matter and make recommendation to the committee on implementation, which shall act as provided for the Standing Order 213. Honorable Speaker, the County Assembly has, over the period commencing September 2022, adopted various reports of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning, in which reports the committee made various recommendations for the implementation of the County Executive. These reports were duly forwarded to the County Executive as County Assembly resolution for actioning. Honorable Speaker, the report includes a report on the Makueni County Integrated Development Plan 2023 to 2027, report on the Makueni County Bursary Fund quarterly report, and the finance statement periods ending June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on the Makueni County Assembly States and public officers' car loans and mortgages. Finance statement for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2023, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on the Makueni County Executive State and Public Officers car loan and mortgage financial statement for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on Makueni County Assembly reports financial statement for the period ended 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on County Government of Makueni Executive reports financial statements for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Report on Makueni County Revenue Fund, CRF, quarter report and financial statements for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Report on Makueni County Emergency and Fund reports and financial statement for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on the Makueni County Sand Conservation and Utilization Authority quarter report and financial statement for the period ended June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. Reports on Makueni County Receiver of Revenue quarter reports and financial statement for the period ended on 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, March 31st, 2023, June 30th, 2023, and September 30th, 2023. And report on the 2023 Makueni County Debt Management Strategy paper, financial year 2023 to 2024 to 2025 to 2026, medium-term expenditure framework. Honorable Speaker, the committee has monitored the implementation of the recommendations in the above reports and established that most of the committee recommendations submitted to the executive committee has been implemented or are in process of implementation. Specifically, the financial report report has improved in layout and accuracy. Use of emergency funds to pay allowances was stopped. Insurance of interest has been minimized and legislated, and the integrated development plan is being implemented. 2, the recommendation to the account assembly on the need to train the committee has not been implemented. 3, the department did not observe the timeline provided for the reporting of the status of implementation of the account assembly resolutions as provided by the standing order number 204. Recommendation. Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that all the assembly resolutions which have not been implemented or are in process of implementation must be implemented within the provided timelines, and the status of the implementation report to the county assembly within the timeline is stipulated in the county assembly standing orders. 2, the county assembly should ensure to implement the committee recommendation directly to it, especially where the implementation of the recommendation as a direct outcome of the performance of the committee of assigned mandates. 3, moving forward, as required by the county assembly standing order number 204, which requires that within the 6 days of the resolution of the county assembly or adoption of the report of a select committee, the relevant county executive committee member under whose profile is implemented of the resolution shall provide a report of the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Section 39(2) of the County Government Act. The department shall be provided a report of the implementation of the Assembly solution within the timeline provided by the above standing.
County to PWDs. 8. Disability-friendly policies and regulations are passed and implemented in the county to improve the lives of persons with disabilities. 9. County PWD committee. 9. A county PWD committee is established to coordinate the interaction between county government and the PWDs. 10. The Makueni County Youth Men, Women, Persons with Disabilities and the Table Banking Empowerment Fund is reactivated to especially empower PWDs. 11. The Department of Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services institute a program for economic empowerment of severely disabled PWDs that are not able to participate in economic raising activities by providing them with basic needs such as food and stipends. 12. The Makueni County government puts in place Makueni Deaf Community Service Providers, that is in the Departmental Coordination Unit, or contracted consortium, or both with the multi-skills team or team leader that shall A. Ensure accurate and effective sign language interpretation and translation services and training standards of interpreters, and not multitasking departmental staffs, as well quality assurance standards and the code of ethics are implemented, adhered to, ensure quality training and evaluation that the deaf community technical team or committee shall be involved to avoid miscommunication and the denial of deaf rights provided for in the Constitution. C. Coordinate deaf community public participation in special or inclusive meetings, forum, workshops, summits, and events, and put in place an evaluative follow-up implementation tools. D. Prepare and devise or facilitate packaging of information, conveying of services in deaf-friendly formats or ways for effective access to information. E. Facilitate in-depth community registration and access to disability funding and to the county equal or allocated share of county funding and development in national and in development at the national and also international support. E. Facilitate for audiological services, that is, hearing testing, hearing aids, fittings, and maintenance for hard hearing and the aged population in Makueni County who have acquired old age-related hearing loss or impairment. F. Identify and fast-track deaf community tenders, allocation for and assist them apply and successful implementation guidance in addition to identifying deaf-friendly and on skills training for business, startups, and the socio-economic undertaking so as to ensure that the Makueni deaf community shall not be left out or discriminated or denied the human rights. The Makueni County Assembly to be the first assembly to comply with Kenya's constitution provision for serving the deaf community and the PWDs by making special training and adjustable arrangements for basic sign language training and understanding the deaf culture by all honorable members of County Assembly and the management staff in its endeavors for creating a deaf-friendly county assembly environment and for best legislative and if a best legislative serves for the left or deaf community. The DIM sender or can be used to facilitate the training. The Honorable Speakers and the members of County Assembly considers a joint initiative to look for CSR support and deaf community induction center for hands-on training and deaf-friendly skill empowerment at Kisau Kiteta Ward. The required material and equipment support will mainly be from or by various county department partners. The prototype Deaf Inductive Mainstreaming Center shall have unique multiple community development impact to the host villages and shall be used for deaf service providers, sign language training, or attached facilitation. The County Assembly makes special arrangements for Makueni deaf community, sub-county representation to be present and interact with the honorable members of the County Assembly during the hearing of this petition. The Honorable Speaker could make a presentation to enlighten the special visitor on purpose, work and procedures of the County Assembly. There is need to make special transport facilitation for the support by respective honorable members. That the Honorable County Assembly employs contracts. The county government employ the deaf in various positions to serve both the general public and the deaf community. The DCSP unit or specialized consultancy can or shall be called to support county public services, both in interviewing the deaf on other services. This also be done in current and the future appointments in boards, PMCs, and the other leadership management committees. There is urgent need to make special arrangements for belated deaf-friendly inclusion, mainstreamed or catch-up trending in ongoing WFP, county youth, TVET, agricultural skill training, as well as climate change, adaptive farming, and the training and the support in various county departments which have left out the deaf community in their earlier training or workshops or programs. Intervene for payment for sign language interpretation, translation services by provided to PMC committees of Kambu Water Mission supported project in the Department of Water, as well as in other projects who have cited lack of county government guidelines to pay for such services. The committee considered the petition and made a report in November 2023, which the following recommendations can be implemented by the Department of Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services within 60 days. Committee recommendations based on the petition. 1, that the department should develop the Makueni County PWD policy in the financial year 2023-2024 to inform the amendment and operationalization of the Makueni Persons with Disabilities Act 2017. The amendment, validation, and operationalization of the PWD Act should be executed by June 30th, 2024. Stakeholder engagement and validation of the Amendment Act should be enhanced during the entire process. That the department should, through the County Public Service Board, ensure full and progressive implementation of the principle that at least 5% of the members of the public in elective and appointive bodies are persons with disabilities. In the subsequent employment by the County Public Service Board as provided for in Article 54(2) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. This should be implemented immediately after the adoption of this report. 3, that fresh elections for PWD's ward representatives should be held by January 2024 for fair representation of the PWDs in government functions and programs. 4, that the exercise of PWD census registration with NCPWDs and issuance of PWD cards should start in January 2024 as earlier committed by the department in response to a statement request regarding PWDs in the county. 5, that construction of all new government facilities should be PWD user-friendly and accessible in terms of physical accessibility and information access, braille, and sign language. The department should ensure that this directive is adhered by all other departments in construction of a new government facility after adoption of this report. Six, the Makueni County Youth, Men, Women, Persons with Disabilities, and the Table Banking Empowerment Fund regulations, currently referred to as Makueni County Empowerment Fund, regulations 2023 should be submitted to the County Assembly after Cabinet approval in December 2023 for consideration and approval. The department should immediately revive the operations of the MCEF fund starting from January 2023. That the County Public Service Board should employ sign language interpreters and translators to accord the deaf community the opportunity to participate in development, social and governance affairs in the county. This should be implemented in the financial year 2024-2025. 8. That the disabled persons, organization leaders, ward representatives should be facilitated to attend government official functions to represent the PWD, including the deaf community. This should commence in the subsequent functions immediately after presentation of this report. 9. That the county government should employ qualified deaf trainers at the Makueni County PWD Center in the financial year 2024-25. This should enable the trainers use international standards of empowering and training the deaf community using international guidelines. 10. That the department should develop a county disability mainstreaming policy in the financial year 2023-2024 to address disability mainstreaming issues affecting PWDs in the county. The committee sought for the status of implementation of the Assembly resolutions, filed a letter as referenced in this document, dated 11th June 2024, requesting for information by 18th June 2024. The ECM provided a response on 21st June 2024, which was considered by the committee, made the following observations and recommendations. Mr. Speaker, I will go through the recommendations. And from number 1 of the recommendation, let's wait for light, Mr. Speaker. I can't read. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let me go ahead to read the recommendations. The department was in the process of developing a persons with disabilities policy at public participation stage. 2, the department had requested the County Public Service Board to ensure that there is at least 5% compliance for persons with disabilities in elective and appointive bodies in subsequent employment. A copy of the letter attached in the response. 3, the department did not conduct elections for PWD's representative in January 2024, citing budget constraints. No budget allocation was considered in the financial year 2024-2025 budget. However, the department committed to carry out the elections through support from partners including Nairobi Women Group. 4, PWD's mapping, registration, and census will be carried out and completed within financial year 2024-2025, since there were delays in implementation due to late disbursement of funds. 5. The department had already submitted the Public Finance Management Makueni County Empowerment Fund 2024 regulations and guidelines, which are currently under consideration by the committee. The department and requested the ECM Department of ICT and Education and Internship to ensure provision of disability mainstream teaching and non-teaching staff in all CTTIs to support all categories of PWDs, including those with hearing impairments. Committee recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, the department should submit to the Assembly the PWD's policy by September 2024. 2. The department should allocate funds for elections for ward PW representatives during the financial year 2024-2025 supplementary, and ensure the elections are carried out by or within 21 days after the budget allocation. 3. PWD's mapping, registration, and census should be completed by September 2024. 4. The Department of Gender, Children, Youth, Sports, and Social Services should ensure that there is employed sign language interpreters and trainers at the PWD Center at Ward by September 2024. 5. The department should ensure strict adherence to timelines on implementation of projects provided for in Assembly resolutions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I would say that before the groups with special needs in Makueni County would have stood out and spoken for themselves as the PWDs, Mr. Speaker, we would have gone far. And I really support this petition, Mr. Speaker. And I would say that as a legislative arm of the government, let's ensure that we play our part. And at this point, I'll call Honorable Martina to support the motion, to second the motion.
Honourable members, I now propose the question that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services, the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly, laid on the table of the Assembly on 3rd July 2024. The floor is open for the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion with some reservations, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I have had some sentiments that actually PWD mapping and census should be undertaken within the shortest time possible. So, Speaker, that sentiment points to something else in the budget. So, Speaker, since 2013, I was a pioneer member of this Assembly. So, Speaker, we allocated 29 million for the PWDs. In the subsequent years, we are allocated huge sums of money, which have never helped the PWDs, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I'm afraid, because we have a budget in every ward of 500,000 to help the PWDs, it might be used in the wrong way, just like what they have been doing in the other previous years, Mr. Speaker. So I'm just urging caution in this matter, Mr. Speaker. Because if they go ahead and we say we are passed, and then they go ahead and say, now that we have 500 in every ward, we are going to use this money to do PWD mapping and census, Mr. Speaker, we would have missed the point. What I wanted when I put 500,000 in the budget of Zawi Kile Kalamba Ward for the PWDs and those members of the public under that category, I wanted to make sure that they are well taken care of by that money. If it is not enough, I'll use the power that I'm given within this assembly to make sure that I do a supplementary and add them more money so that I can give them some equipments. I can maybe give them even some money to do business, those who can do business, and I can take care of those who cannot even come out of their beds, Mr. Speaker. But I don't want, Mr. Speaker, to be counted as one of the members who passed a motion to allow the 500 to be used for mapping and census. I'll do it myself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa hii fursa ya kuongea. Mimi nasimama na kuunga mkono hii motion na pia niongezee mengine. Hawa disabled hawa walemavu huwa wanapitia changamoto nyingi. Na ni wajibu wetu ama jukumu letu tuangalie hawa watu wetu watasaidika aje. Sababu vipi? Wakati ule kuna public board, wanastahili kuwa wanaweka watu wao, wanachukua mmoja wao walemavu ndio awe representative wa wale wengine ama awe akipazisha habari kwa wale wengine. Na pia kunapokuwa kuna watu wanaajiriwa, wengi wao huwa hawatambuliki. Kwa nini? Sababu hawana watu wao wa kuwatetea. Na ingekuwa vizuri sana kama kuna ajiriwa watu, at least wao nao wanaangaliwa. 3, ni vizuri sana kuwe na trainings. Wengine wao ni walemavu, wengine ni deaf, hawajui kuongea, na wengine pia hawaoni na ni wakulima. Je, wanapokuwa wanataka kulima na wanapanda miti ama wanapanda miti na wanataka kupiga dawa, kama kawaida sisi wengine huwa kuna trainings tunaelimishwa vile tunaweza kupiga dawa kama habari ya powder remedial nini. Hao watapazishwa habari na kina nani ndio waende kwa hizo meeting. Na pia wengine wanatoka mbali, wengine wanakaa mbali, kama tuseme wanakusanyia Kadhonzweni ama Kikumini Muvau Town. Watatokaje huko waje Kikumini na wengine hawawezi kutembea? Hiyo ni kitu inastahili kuangaliwa sana. Ndio nao waache kusikia wametengwa. Tukija habari ya land issues, wengine huwa tuseme wengine wazazi wao, baba zao wanakufa, alafu baada ya kufa wanafukuzwa kwa maboma kwa vile hawana wa kututetea. Kwa hivyo naomba serikali ama kaunti yetu itengeneze policy ndio hao watu wetu nao waache kutengwa sana na waache kujisikia kama wao sio binadamu. Mtu kuzaliwa kilema si kupenda kwake, ila anajikuta hivyo, na lazima nao tuwaonyeshe upendo. Wakati mwingine wa budget unakuta mama hana ulemavu wa mguu, naye mtoto anayesoma hana jicho ama hajui kuongea. Je, wakati wa kuallocate ama kuninizi pesa za bursaries, kama hawana watu wao wazuri wa kuwapazisha habari, hiyo jamii unaona inaendelea tu na kudidimia. Watoto wanataka kusoma lakini wanashindwa, watasomaji? Na wengi ni werevu zaidi kwa vile hawajabeba vitu vingi kama sisi ambao tuko sawa. Huwa tuna mambo mengi sana, hata unaweza kutukuta kwa klasi hatushiki kama wale, kwa vile wana focus kusoma tu na hawajui kitu kingine. Kwa hivyo mimi nasimama na kuunga mkono hii motion, na pia ile petition ilifanywa ndio at least kuwe na equal, na pia mainstreaming ifanye vile inavyostahilika. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I start to support the motion fully.
and add a few points here and there. When you go to schools, primary schools, secondary schools, these EBRD teachers, particularly with the eyesight problem, are normally given an aid, a person to assist him in doing his or her work. I think the same case should be applied to all these people all over the county. The county should set, the assembly should set enough monies, and each person with a disability of any time, Mr. Speaker, can be given an aid to assist him in doing whatever he's doing. Otherwise, it is very necessary they suffer a lot, and they should not continue suffering while we are there, while we have the ability to make them safe by maybe passing a policy where an aid is given to each concerned person. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Move for the motion. Okay. No, there's one request. There's one request.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, though you have given me the permission at the 11th hour, but I'm still happy for that. Mr. Speaker, I'm standing here in support of the motion already at hand. Mr. Speaker, these disabled persons suffer a lot, and I'm very sure they are all over the constituency. For instance, in my ward, Cascale, on Thursdays and Fridays, that's when I normally go to my office. They normally throng there, demanding, maybe some of them normally demand food, others demand clothing, others even demand walking sticks and wheelchairs, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I think it is wise. Honorable Member for Kilili has already talked about the 500,000 which you have already allocated. I beseech the House, the government, to use that money wisely and take care of those disabled and make sure that they are well taken care of, because they are part and parcel of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mover or the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, as I stand, I appreciate all the sentiments which have been given by the members in support of this motion. Mr. Speaker, in operationalization of the Disability Act 2017 will mean a lot to PWDs, and it will address many challenges which the PWDs are going through. Mr. Speaker, for the 5% principle, which is the 5% principle of employing people with disabilities in elective, appointive positions, Mr. Speaker, if it is adhered to by the Public Service Board, Mr. Speaker, and also our political parties, if they adhere to this, Mr. Speaker, the PWDs will not be left out, and it has been captured as a recommendation by the Committee of Gender. So, Mr. Speaker, I would say that personally, I get nominated to represent the needs of the marginalized of the people of Makueni County among the other nominated members in this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have to spearhead this petition to ensure the needs of the PWDs have been met. Mr. Speaker, I like the sentiments made by Honorable Francis Mutuku. Excuse me to call him Muso because it's a name which we have been used to. He said that he will use the powers which has been bestowed to him by the people, by God, and by the Constitution. Let us walk that as an assembly. Let us use those powers which we have been bestowed to by the people of Makueni, by the Constitution of Kenya, and by God to speak for the voiceless. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services, the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly, laid on the table of the Assembly on 3rd July 2024. As men are of that opinion, say aye. As men are of contrary opinion, say nay. The ayes have it. The next order.
Order number 12, motion. The report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on the issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursaries in Kikumbulu North Ward.
Chairperson, Committee on ICT, Education and Internship to move a motion for adoption of the committee's report titled above.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on the issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursary in Kikumbulu North Ward, laid on the table of the Assembly on the 30th July 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, the requester of the statement seems asleep. And I don't know. He has awoken. Mr. Speaker, I beg to continue straight away to the executive summary. Mr. Speaker, in the financial year 2023-2024 budget, Kikumbulu North Ward allocated Kenya shillings 5 million for the bursary to support needy students in the ward. However, on the 26th February 2024, the area MCA Honorable Jackson Imbalu expressed dissatisfaction with how the bursary distribution exercise was conducted. The committee then wrote to the ECM, where ICT Education and Internship, on the same day, requesting information regarding the issuance of bursaries for the financial year 2023-2024 in Kikumbulu North Ward. The ECM responded to the committee in a letter dated 1st March 2024, referenced as GMC/DII/02/24/2024-75. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the letter dated 1st March 2024, the ECM for ICT Education and Internship addressed discrepancies observed following the disbursement of bursary checks by the Ward Bursary Committee. These discrepancies, Mr. Speaker, included the omission of students who had been vetted and nominated by the sub-ward committee from the list of check disbursements. Additionally, reports revealed that some students who neither applied for bursaries nor underwent vetting at the sub-ward level in polling stations were erroneously issued bursaries. The requester emphasized that bursaries were given to the students from secondary schools, colleges, and universities who were not residents of Kikumbulu North Ward, while genuine needy cases within the ward were overlooked. Moreover, bursaries were granted to highly capable students who did not necessarily need financial assistance. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the 13th sitting of the County Assembly held on Monday, March 4, 2024, the chairperson of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship responded to the statement requested by the Honorable Member for North Kikumbulu North, Jackson Imbalu, Honorable Jackson Imbalu, regarding the issuance of financial year 2023-24 bursaries in Kikumbulu North Ward, but the Assembly termed the response unsatisfactory. During the response, it was noted that, number one, the original list of names of students and their application forms who applied and were vetted at each sub-ward were missing. Number two, the original list of the successful students submitted to the Ward Bursary Committee was also missing. The ward administrator confirmed that the two lists were submitted to him but got lost. Subsequently, the department went ahead to issue bursaries based on a soft copy submitted to them on December 29, 2023. E. The intended and deserving needy students who had been successfully vetted and passed for issuance of bursaries were shortchanged and therefore did not benefit, raised issues on accountability and integrity. F. The manner in which the bursaries were issued was in serious violation of Section 10(1)(c), 13, 22, and 23(2) of the Public Finance Management, Makueni County Bursary Fund Regulations 2018. Number G. No disciplinary action was taken according to the provisions of Regulation 13(2)(b) of the Public Finance Management, Makueni County Bursary Fund Regulations 2018, and against Article 2010 of the PFPMM. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee wrote to the ECM for ICT, Education and Internship and a counterpart in the Finance, Planning, Budget and Revenue Department on March 5, 2024, requesting additional information regarding the discrepancies mentioned in the statement. In a letter dated 11th March 2024, the ECM for Finance, Planning, Budget and Revenue confirmed that the county treasury had not received any reports concerning the alleged discrepancies for suspected loss of public funds. Additionally, the ECM for Finance clarified that upon receiving communication from the county assembly on the matter, the county treasury also received a letter from the chief officer in charge of education and internship and received the irregularities in administering the bursaries in Kikubilu North Ward. Mr. Speaker, the County Executive Committee member for ICT, Education and Internship through a letter dated March 11th, reference GMC stroke DIEI stroke 03 2024-89 indicated that she caused the Chief Officer for Education and Internship to report to the Makueni Police Station on 8th March 2024 with OB number 46 concerning alleged loss of crucial documents. The ECM further highlighted that she reported the officers implicated to the Department of Devolution for administrative action to be taken on the officers found capable of flouting the bursary regulation on February 27, 2024 through a letter referenced GMC stroke DII stroke 2 2024-74 and has disbanded the Kikumbulu North Ward Bursary Committee and the Sub-Ward Bursary Committee for violating the Public Finance Management, Makueni County Bursary Fund Regulations 2018 through a letter dated March 2024. Mr. Speaker, following the inconclusiveness of the matter, the committee was directed to conduct an inquiry into the matter, ensuring a fair hearing for all parties involved, and subsequently reported to the Assembly. On April 17, 2024, the committee invited the county bursary committee led by the chief officer in charge of education and internship, who is the chairperson. The director is CNDE and supported to education. The director county administration. The Kikumbulu North Ward ECD officer, the ward administrator, Kikumbulu North Ward, and the sub-ward administrator, Kikumbulu North Ward, who appeared before the County Assembly Sectoral Committee on ICT, Education and Internship as witness to the proceedings of issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursaries in Kikumbulu North Ward on Wednesday, April 24, 2024, in the County Assembly Precinct. Further on the inquiry on April 24, 2024, the committee invited the 5 members of Kikumbulu North Ward Bursary Committee who appeared as witnesses before the Assembly Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on April 30, 2024 for interrogation regarding the issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursaries in Kikumbulu North Ward. Mr. Speaker, the committee invited the ECM for ICT, Education and Internship to appear before it on 15th May 2024 through a letter dated May 9th, 2024 regarding irregularities committed during the issuance of financial year 2023-2024 bursaries in Kikumbulu North Ward. The ECM was accompanied by the Chief Officer for Education and Internship and the Director in charge of ECNDs and the support to education. Additionally, the MCF of Kikumbulu North Ward was also in attendance during the meeting. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the investigations, it was discovered that the application forms of 14 out of 21 students were recovered, indicating their eligibility. A task force of 7 members was established to visit the homes of the remaining 70 students to verify their need for the bursaries. It was confirmed that these students also genuinely deserved the assistance. The ECM for ICT Education and Internship informed the committee that after thorough investigations, the Kikumbulu North Ward Administrator and the Village Administrator were suspended and all the ward bursary committees were disbanded. The ECM further confirmed that through our efforts, the 21 deserving students who had missed out on the bursary disbursement eventually received full benefits. Committee's findings and observations. Mr. Speaker, the committee made the following findings and observations in the process. Number 1, members established that training on the mandates of the Ward and Bursary Committee was conducted at the sub-county level, but it was intended for the Ward administrators, who were then expected to train members of the Ward and Bursary Committees. Number 2, the disbursement of the Ward Bursary Committee was primarily due to the reason that they awarded bursaries to their relatives. Number 3, the Kikumbulu North Ward Administrator and the Village Administrator was suspended, and all the Ward Bursary Committees were also disbanded. Number 4, the Ward Administrator worked from the office of the Village Administrator, where he bundled all the collected documents into 2 cartons and stored them in the office of the Kadhiaka Village Administrator instead of his office, allegedly due to space constraints, intended to transfer them later. Number 5, allegedly some documents, including the application forms used in the Kikumbulu North Ward, were recovered from the home of the Village Administrator, and the matter was reported to the Kesaya and Police Station and OMB number 06-22/04/2024 in the presence of the Ward Administrator of Kikumbulu North Ward. The matter was referred to Water Police Station, where it was initially reported by the Chief Officer, and it is currently under investigation. The Village Administrator denied these allegations and appealed to the Committee on ICT Education and the Internship to consider them as a mere setup. It was revealed that there are 13 ECD officers in the county, each attending to 3 wards. This was the challenge for ECD officers to attend all ward bursary committee sittings during the vetting of the bursaries, since some wards sat concurrently. In the case of Kikumbulu North, Mr. Speaker, 3 wards, Kikumbulu North, Kikumbulu South, and Mazongaleni wards had their sittings running concurrently on the same day to award bursaries. A curriculum support officer, Christina Ngundo, was tasked to sit for the ECD officer, and since the curriculum support officer was almost retired, Francis Mwangangi, the Kanyango Primary School head teacher, was appointed to assume her roles. 7, Mr. Speaker, the committee learned that appointment letters for the members of the Ward Bursary Committee were dispatched from the Department of ICT Education and Internship through the Department of Devolution for the Ward Administrator to issue, despite the allegations by the Ward Bursary Committee that they were never served with such letters. 8. From the investigation, it was discovered that 14 out of 21 students' application forms were recovered, indicating that they were deserving. A task force of 7 members was established who visited the homes of the remaining 70 students and established that they really deserved the bursaries. All the 21 students received the bursaries. 9. From the conflicting information between the ward and the village administrators, the Committee on ICT, Education and Leadership established that there had been no cordial working relationship between the two. It was essentially one word against the other. Later, confirmed by the Ward Ambassador Committee when they were invited to the Assembly at a later date. 10. To prevent future occurrences, a mobile line 011 46 93 781 011 46 93 781 was established for the members of the public to report any irregularities concerning bursary issuance at the ward level. Committee recommendations. Number 1. The committee recommended the following. Number 1. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship should undertake a comprehensive review of the bursary regulations and the guidelines to address all the loopholes and forward to the Assembly within 60 days after adoption of this report. Number 2. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship should ensure that during the next issuance of the bursaries, dates for vetting of the bursary beneficiaries are separated to allow the existing ECD officers to attend all sittings before obtaining additional ECD officers. Number 3. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship should follow up and obtain returns in the form of receipts from schools where the bursaries have been issued, commencing with the next issuance of the bursaries. Number 4. During the awarding of the bursaries, stamped copies of school fees balances should be presented at the application stages. These requirements should be included in the bursary regulations. Number 5. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship should increase the number of ECD officers assigned to each ward to ensure that every ward has its own dedicated ECD officers. Number 6. Ward bursary committee members should take ownership of the final list of bursary committees awardees by signing it and retaining copies for their records to enhance transparency and accountability in the process. Number 7. Training sessions should be conducted for ward bursary committee members by the Department of ICT, Education and Internship to familiarize on their mandates and the procedures in the bursary guidelines before issuance of the financial year 2024-2025 bursaries. Number 8, Mr. Speaker, village administrators should present the final raw data to the ward bursary committee, who would in turn hand it over to the ward administrator to prevent any conflicts or misunderstanding between the administrators. Number 9, the Department of ICT, Education and Internship should include special considerations in the bursary regulations to accommodate persons with disabilities who are members of the ward bursary committee to ensure their needs are adequately addressed henceforth with the financial year 2024-2025 bursary issuance. Number 10, the Department of ICT, Education and Internship should revoke and dismiss all letters issued to both the ward and the sub-ward bursary committees and the issued appointment letters back to the members within 30 days after adoption of this report. 11. The ECM should publish and display a list of successful students who have qualified for bursaries at polling stations for public verification before the bursary checks are released to promote transparency and accountability in the process henceforth with the financial year 2024-2025 bursary issuance. Number 12. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship should sensitize the public when the bursary issuance process commences from the distribution of application forms, awarding of beneficiaries, distribution of checks, and the publicizing of the final list henceforth with the financial year 2024-2025 bursary issuance. Acknowledgement. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the committee, I wish to thank the Office of the Speaker and the office of the clerk for the support offered to the committee. On behalf of the committee, I hereby present this report to the County Assembly for consideration and adoption. And now I call upon you, Honorable Mwande, to second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on the issuance of the 2023-2024 bursary in Kukumbulu North Ward, laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th July 2024. The floor is open for the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity to thank the committee, which has done a quite a good job. They dealt with the issue thoroughly. And Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank the department because of hearkening first to make sure that the students who had missed in the bursaries were able to get some money to continue their education. I want to thank the chairman and his team of this committee for a good dedication to do a good job. Mr. Speaker, if we do not stay awake, it is not hard for this thing to have been repeated many other places. So I request honorable members to be extra vigilant during bursary issuance so that the beneficiaries who are needy students, orphans, very poor parents who are not able to, they can be able to get something. And so that the money we allocate cannot go to waste. It is very unfortunate to find a very needy student missing in a list, while a person who is able and able people who are working, you find their children getting two kids getting bursaries while the needy student goes. And so this had been going on in my ward. And Mr. Speaker, that's why I was very keen to follow and to see that the list that comes from the polling stations is not interfered with. Because at the polling stations, that's where members know each other. Members of the public identify each other from the polling station. They know who is needy and who is not needy. And we were able to detect the mistake which we were to follow because we had been briefed very well and we were able to know the students who had been given. So, Mr. Speaker, I really support this motion and encourage the honorable member to support it, and that we may be vigilant in future from the polling station, because that's where the rubber meets the road. Because, Mr. Speaker, once we get it right there, and we will make sure nobody cheats and nobody can change the list. I support it, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support the committee's report. And Mr. Speaker, just a question. I was wondering why, because I've heard that the committee was, the bursary committee was disbanded because of the malpractices which were detected during the issuance of the bursary. I'm really wondering whether it was necessary to punish the committee, while in essence, it is as clear as crystal that it is the ward administrator and his counterpart, the village administrator, who actually interfered with the bursary process. Mr. Speaker, if I were the member for Kukumbulu North, I would say 30 committee should stay, because actually those are the people, maybe and most likely, who told him there's something which is going on within that particular ward. Again, Mr. Speaker, if I may say, Mr. Speaker, it is good to advise the members to use the polling station as basis for giving bursaries. Last financial year, I had a bursary of 7 million, Mr. Speaker. In the supplementary, I had a bursary of 3 million and 3.5 million, Mr. Speaker. And I've been using the word. I mean that
they were to revoke the appointment letters of the committee of the ward and sub-ward, because that was divergent, not the major culprits. Because during investigation, we were able to know who were the real culprits in this. But now the committee, which was at the ward, had done their work. The committee at the sub-ward had done the work. So they were the two key players were not revoked anyone.
They have not said that. They have just said the committee members who are from the community, who are the ones actually who are telling us what is happening. And we really recommend that they stay because they did their work thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.